that the cosecant, this is the abbreviation for cosecant, CS, is the reciprocal of the sine ratio, which means if I were to write it, right, if I were to write it as a ratio like this, it would be the inverse of opposite over hypotenuse, which would be the hypotenuse over opposite. Alright? Then we have the secant ratio, and the secant ratio is the reciprocal of the cosine ratio. So if I were to write it, so secant, this is the abbreviation SEC. The secant ratio is the reciprocal of the cosine ratio. So 1 over cosine, which if I were to write it like in this form, I would have to reciprocate or flip over adjacent over hypotenuse. So it will be over adjacent. Alright? And then lastly, the cotangent ratio is the reciprocal of the tangent ratio. So if I were to write it as a formula, I would say that cotan, theta, or cot, C-O-T, is 1 over the tangent of theta, which again, if I am to write it as a ratio itself, it would be adjacent over opposite, which of course is the inverted form of tangent. Any questions up to there? Any questions up to there? So notice, these are the reciprocal or the inverse. I'm sorry, not the inverse, the inverted ratio of those at the front. Very, very careful. Reciprocal and inverted form of those ratios. Not the inverse, right? Inverses are very different. Okay? Questions, guys? You need a minute to write that out or screenshot it, whichever one is faster.